Hi everyone, in this video we are going to style the team section. So first off, let's go ahead and let's get rid of the height that we have for the team section. I'm going to change the background color to quaternary ML. Here is that color. Let's provide it with the padding that we want. So it's going to be var, this is going to be XLV. And next up it is going to be LH. So LH. Let me just say padding. Okay, that is an issue there. So it's going to be var LH. There we go. And let's provide the semicolon. So far so cool. Let's say display flex. We know that we have the mini title, the title, and the paragraph along with that cards container. So we want all of them to be actually vertically aligned. So we are going to say flex direction column. For now, let's just set the gap to 3 rem. Now, because everything is so gigantic, all of the images, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the images and I'm going to style them first so we can see the rest of the styles that we are going to do. So let's go ahead and let's grab the images. So what should I do with the images? So I'm going to provide a specific height and width for the image. Now I'm just going to open one or expand one of these cards. This is the class name for the image. Let's put it right here. Let's provide a dot. And I'm going to say the height of the image is going to be 8 rem. The width of the image is going to be 8 rem as well. Object fit cover, and then we are going to say border radius 50%. 50%. Let's save that. Let's come here. So now I can see this is more manageable. This is something that we can work with better. So these are our final images, the final styles for our images. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this mini title that we have, and I'm going to keep styling that, and then we are going to jump into consecutive elements. So let's go ahead and let's grab the mini title. So I'm going to say team underscore mini dash title. Now I'm going to jump back into the contact section, and I'm going to borrow the styles from the contact section's mini title, and I'm going to put them right here. And maybe I'm going to do some adjustments. So the font size is going to be the same. The font weight is going to be the same. Letter spacing is going to be the same. Now the color is going to be color primary. We want it to be white. No, what is the color primary? Okay, yeah, it is white. There we go. So the color is going to be color primary. Padding is going to be the same. The background is going to be color quaternary. Save that. Let's take a look at it. Okay, this is what we want. Here we go. So color primary, color quaternary. Now the border radius is going to be 2 rem, and I'm just going to apply an align self, and I'm going to say align self center. And now it is center. The reason that align self works horizontally is because it depends on the align items property. And align items, because the direction of the flex is column, it is the opposite of column, which is row. Therefore, align items is row, and align self is row as well, because we changed the direction of the flex. Here is our title. We are going to have the same styles for the previous one as well. So I'm just going to copy all of these. You could provide a shared class and basically in the general styles and provide all these styles. I am going to do that in our next project, but in this one, I just want to keep things simple. This is like a more intermediate level project, but the next project we are going to do a lot of more cool stuff. It's going to be a lot more JavaScript. We are going to basically kick it up a notch. It's not going to be like 100% refactored, but I'm going to try to make it a little bit cleaner than this one, especially than the first project we did. So we are just taking up the level as we progress through this playlist or through this tutorial series. Now the font size is going to be dynamic medium. The color is going to be quaternary. The font weight is going to be 700, and the text align is going to be center. Now we do have a span as well, so let's grab that span, and I'm going to say color is going to be var secondary. Let's save that. So we are done with this title as well. Let's jump into the paragraph. Okay, and the paragraph is going to have the same styles as the para for the previous sections. So it's going to be, where is the paragraph? Oh, it didn't have any paragraph, so let me just go back one level further. Content, key points. Okay, this one didn't have, so let's just go ahead and create that. It is going to be team __ para. The font size is going to be var STM, static medium. Opacity is going to be 0.5. Align self, okay, let's say align self is going to be center, and text align is also going to be center. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. So this one's styled as well. Now what I'm going to do is for the rest of this section, we are just going to dive into the sections. So first off, let's grab the section container, or the cards container. So it's going to be it's going to have a class of team cards. Let's say display grid, because we want it to be responsive without using any lines of media queries. I mean, we are going to use like very little, and that is just going to be the spacing, but we are going to use the min-max function of CSS grid. So grid, template, columns, we're going to say repeat, auto fit as many columns as you deem necessary. And then we are going to say min-max function is going to be, so the minimum size is going to be 40 rem or 400 pixels, and the maximum size is going to be 1FR. So gap, we are going to have a gap for row, which is going to be 5 VH, and a gap for the columns, which is going to be 8 VW. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. Now, because the width, it can't basically put both of these in one line. That is why this is basically, it has been, all of these are vertical, but we have said fit as many columns as you can. So when it is 40 rem, it cannot fit 2 columns, it can only fit 1 column. It is going to be fixed whenever we are done with styling of individual cards. So I'm going to say team card, cards -- card. This is every individual card. Let's provide it with a background color of primary, border radius of 0.5 rem, and padding of I'm going to say SV, and the other padding is going to be SH. Save that. Now each of these cards, they're going to be a grid container as well, because we are going to use grid columns to be able to align these based on within their respective positions. We're going to use grid columns. So it's going to be display grid. Now grid template columns is going to say repeat. Now I'm going to use 5 columns. You could do this with 3 columns. You could do this with 10 columns. I'm just going to use 5 columns. 1FR and grid template rows. I'm going to need 5 rows as well, but it's not a good practice to fix the height grid template rows of your rows. That's why I'm just going to use min content. So repeat 5 min - content, and let's provide it with a gap as well. So the gap is going to be 1 rem. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. This is how it is going to look like, because we have set 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It is going to be fixed. Don't worry about it. So first off, I'm going to grab the image. Now let's take a look at our final example, our finished website. Let's go to layout. Let's just activate one of these divs. So here is what we have to do. So the image, it is within the first column, but it occupies 2 rows. And then These titles, they are basically within the second column and within the second and third rows. So first off, let's grab the image. So I'm going to say team cards, card underscore image. Oops. Team cards underscore image. And I'm going to say grid row. Start from the first grid row and span all the way to grid row 3. So this is how it is going to be, how it is going to look like. Let's move on to the name. So it's going to be team cards. Instead of the image, we are going to say name. It's going to be grid column 2 and span all the way to -1. We are going to say grid row, start from 1 and span to column number 3. There we go. And as far as these styles are concerned, I'm going to say margin top of 2 rem. So I just want it to come down a little. And I'm going to say font size ST medium or STM. So STM. There we go. Save that. This is how it is going to look like. Now you can see it is getting to look the way that we want it. Let's grab the row. So team. Name after that we are going to have the role. This is going to be grid column, start from 2 and span all the way to the last column, and the row is going to be the same as the name as well. So 1 and 3. Grid row 1, 2, 3. And let's say margin top, we want it to be 5 rem. Just now these items, they're overlapping, so we are spacing them apart using margin top. So margin top is going to be 5 rem. Font size is going to be var STS, and color is going to be var septenary. Save that. Let's take a look at it. So this is how we are actually being able to put them within their respective spaces. Now, we would want the paragraph to actually stretch across all the columns, and we want the social to stretch across all the columns as well. So team, next up, we are going to have a description. And for the description, we are going to say that you have to stretch across all the columns. So grid column, start from 1 and go to -1. Grid column, let me take a look at the final website. So it does, yeah, it starts from 1 and it stretches all across. So 1 -1, that is okay. Grid row, it's going to be start from 1. No, not 1. So this is 1, 2, start from 3 and go to 4. So 3 and go to 4. There we go. Font size is going to be var STS. And opacity is going to be 0.5. Let's save that. Let's come here. This is how it is going to look like. That is cool. Very good. Very, very good. Let's jump into, let me just lowercase that. Let's jump into the final one, which is going to be the social. So team cards, social. This is going to start from the first column and it's going to span all across. So 1, 2, I could say 3, or I could say like -1 in case there are more social icons. But for now, I'm just going to set it to 1, 3. Font size, var, this is going to be, come on, STS. And because there are more than one element, I'm going to say display flex. What am I even writing? Why is it so bad, my typing today? So display flex, the gap is going to be 1 rem as well. Let's take a look at that. There we go. So far everything looks cool. Now we are going to change the color of the icons. So I'm going to say team social. Team, where is the social? Let's grab the I element. Cursor is going to be pointer. And then color is going to be var color septenary. Color septenary. Let's save that. There we go. So everything looks cool, and let's take a look at the rest of them. Now, what you want to do when you're actually creating these kinds of cards is that the focus, it always has to be on the image itself. So now you can see that this Levi Lee's image, the head, it has been cut, and we can see the laptop, but we want to focus on the head part. So we need to make sure that these are actually in a good position. So we are going to change the background. These are inline images. We are going to change the object position of these inline images, the position of them, so we can see this head better. And we have not actually talked about this property. It works in the same way as with background position, but for inline images. So I'm going to say team. Now those images, they do have specific classes. So let's first take a look at that. So I want to fix the card 4 image, and I also want to fix this one. This is a little bit to the side, so I'm just going to bring it to the center, the head towards the center. So team card 1 and card 4. So this is going to be card 1. Now I want to bring it to the right. It means that I want to see the top left corner a little bit more. So I'm just going to type in here. I'm going to say object position, and I'm going to type here top left. So whichever position you provide, that position will be the position that the focus is going to be on. So now you can see that. So this is card 1, and let's grab the image. Let's save that, and now you can see that the image, it basically just shifted towards the right, and now it looks cool. This is second one, third one, and okay. And then the final one. So for the final, I want to see the top left part, the top right part a little bit more. So I'm just going to type those keywords. Let's just copy that. Let's come down here. This is going to be card number 4. So which part do I want to see more? I want to see the top right part. That's why I'm just going to say top right, and the image basically shifts towards the left. So far so cool. The only issue seems to be that our items, they're not, our cards, they're not being as responsive as we would want them to be. So what have we done here is, let's just move in here. Okay, there is some, why is there like another pair of parentheses? Just remove that. Let's save it. Let's come here. There we go. So that was the issue. There was just an extra pair of parentheses. So this is how this section is going to look like. There is some spacing there. Why didn't we provide those spacing? Let's see. So within for each card, we have said 1 rem. We have forgot to write the unit. There we go. Now it looks better, much better. Now, let's go ahead and let's decrease the width of the window. I'm going to keep decreasing that, and we are going to see if we are going to need some media queries whenever we go ahead and we decrease the width of the window. So let's go ahead. Now you can see that this space, this gap, this is too much. When the width of the screen is big, that is okay, but as you're going smaller and smaller, the gap seems to take away the attention from the card itself. So what I'm going to do is around 1100, I'm going to reduce the gap. So let's create a media query at that point. So that's going to be the first media query that we create, the top one. So it's going to be media screen and max dash width 1100 pixels. 1100 pixels. And then within here, I'm going to grab the team cards, and I'm going to say gap has to be 2 VW. Let's save that. Let's come here. Now you can see that there is a little bit more space. So this is how it looks like now. It looks like that. There are a couple of things that I need to do before actually going forward, and that is I need to add the title of the section right here. So it's team title, team underscore title. There we go. So this is the first and the second thing. Remember that padding that I told you that we're going to add for every section? Let's go ahead and let's change the padding. So it was within 470. And we are going to add the team here as well. So far it has to be cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to decrease the width of the window. Okay. So this is around 1000, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to keep decreasing and decreasing, and now around 934, what happens is that because there isn't enough space to put these, like every card, it must have a minimum of 40 rem, and when the distance decreases below that, then the cards, they're going to shift to the next line, just to basically compensate for that small size, because it can't go below 40 rem. That's why it does that. It goes to the next line. Let's go ahead. Let's make this smaller. And it's this is the padding, right, for this section? Yeah, that is the padding. So around 800, what I want to do here is that because now we have only like one column, and that column spans across the entire grid, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove that 40 rem minimum size that I've added, and I'm just going to set the column width as 1 FR. The reason that I'm doing that is because the more that we decrease the width of the window, the more responsive I want my cards to be. So when we get to 400, because we have some padding on the right and on the left, then we are going to end up with the horizontal scroll bar. I don't want to do that. So around 800, I think this is the media query. This is 720. This is the 800. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab, first let's grab the comment and let's change it to team. And then here I'm going to say team cards. Let's say grid template columns. So let's say grid template columns. Let's change it from that min-max function to just 1 FR. That is better. This just makes it a little bit more responsive. So let me just go ahead and make the width of the window smaller. There we go. It is smaller. Here is our navigation. Let's go ahead and let's make it smaller. Okay. And let's see if there is something else that we need to fix. So far, I don't think, no, there is no horizontal scroll bar. We are at the 400 width. Let me just go ahead and show this to you. I'm going to comment this part out. And when I come here, now you can see that there is actually a scroll bar. The reason for that is the minimum width is going to be 400 pixels for these cards, and we have already passed that by 24 pixels. So up until right here, we are not going to see any scroll bar, but from here downwards, there is the scroll bar right here. There we go. So we need to be very careful when we are working with these kinds of dimensions. I could go ahead and I could provide it at around 470. Now that I'm looking at it, and I think that will look better. So this is going to be the team cards. Okay, what did I do? This is uncommented. This is uncommented as well. Let's save that. Let's go there. Let's make the width of the window smaller, and now there is no scroll bar. Very cool. Let's go ahead, and I can see how these cards, they're basically reacting to how much we are decreasing the width of the window. So all the way to 300, there isn't any issue. But if we go less than 300, because the name is large and there is not enough space, it is going to overlap to the next line. So if you want to go to that extent, you could say max width 300, another media query, and you could basically change the value for the margin. So the head of development text, which is blue, it could come down. But I'm not going to do that because that's not what I actually design websites for. That is not the size. So up until here, everything looks cool. And these texts, they're going to look exactly like the preceding columns, preceding sections. There we go. Now this is extremely responsive. Cool. So with this section of the website comes to an end. In our next video, we are going to start coding the footer. It's going to be extremely easy. And in the video after that, we are going to complete the main page for this website. Remember, there is another page as well, and that is the sign-in page, which we are going to cover after we are done with the main page. So that's it for this lecture. See you then.